Hi, this is Tim Newmeyer from PMC. Today we're going to go over our PX-7 mechanical purge spray gun. Okay, we're going to go over the different components and the operation of the PX-7 spray gun. I'm going to show you how it goes into the spray mode and also the components that are used to do a pour application with, say, concrete lifting. Okay, these are the main components of the PX-7 gun. The gun is right now set up in the spray mode. Okay, so we have the main body, we have the handle, we have the material fluid head, we have the A and the B inlet screen screws that have our inlet screens and our check valves in here. And again, in the spray mode, we have an air cap. We have our retainer, which holds the PCT onto the front of the gun, and inside is also the spray module. Okay, and we have our 2-position safety stop on the back of the gun. Okay, on the other side of the gun, we have an air needle valve. And the main purpose of this air needle valve, okay, is to send air out the front of the gun in order to dissipate the ISO lead lag that occurs when the gun is in the off position. When the trigger is let go, there is a lead lag, a quote ISO spit of material that comes out the front of the gun. This air needle valve helps to dissipate that ISO spit. With a mechanical purge, we have a mechanical valving rod that opens and closes the orifices within the mixing module. Okay. In the closed position, all the orifices are now closed to chemical coming out of the gun because the valving rod is all the way forward in the mixing chamber. When the gun is triggered, the valving rod pulls back and opens up the B orifices that are in the back cone part of the mixing chamber, mixing module, and the A orifices that are in the front part. Okay? So now both materials are spraying out of the front of the gun. When the trigger is let go, the valving rod moves forward, closes off the B orifices first, closes off the A orifices last, and the material comes out the front of the gun through the back part of the PCT. This is where the air needle valve that we spoke about previously comes into play. The air that comes out of the front of the gun from that air needle valve helps to dissipate the lead lag or material spit that comes out the front of the gun. We're going to go over, we're going to remove some of these parts, the components. I'm going to show you the components on the front of the gun, okay? We're going to remove the inlet screen screws, okay, and they have the material screens on them, okay. We also have a check valve, okay, and that check valve's main purpose is to stop material if there's an overpressure situation, to have material going from one side of the gun over into the other side and creating a crossover. Okay, so we have these check valves on here, okay, and they're relatively easy to remove, okay. You can take the screen off, replace the screen. Okay, snap that piece back in there. All right, and the part goes back inside like so. Okay. Okay, we're going to remove the air cap. All right, and that comes off like so. Okay, we're going to remove the retainer piece that's on the front. Okay, that's going to come off. Okay, and the retainer holds the pattern control tip in place. Okay. And here's the pattern control tip. We have a couple different sizes. We have a size 70 and a size 90. The size 90, the larger, in combination with the #1 mixing module that I mentioned before, is the most common mixing module and pattern control tip that's used to do spray foam roofing. Okay. We have our mixing module retainer. Okay. And this retainer holds the mixing module inside of the fluid head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger the gun, okay, to take a little bit of pressure off the front, and I'm going to remove the retainer using this tool that comes in your toolkit. Okay, and I'm going to spin that off. Okay, and there's also a front packing that's inside of that. Okay, and that front packing helps to secure and make sure there's no leaks between the mixing chamber and the front of the PCT retainer. Okay, so we got the gun triggered. The mixing module comes out of the front of the head. Okay, and you're going to just remove that mixing module like so. Like I said before, you want to make sure that you have a good interference fit on here. Okay, if this module is sliding very freely back and forth on this valving rod, there's either an issue with the valving rod or the mixing module is worn out. Okay, so you have to make sure that that you have a nice tight fit on here. Okay, so we're going to take that off. So we now want to go from a spray mode, and we now want to do a pour application with the PX-7. Okay, so we're going to go from the spray mode, okay, to a pour mode. All right, you could use this pour mode for void filling, for concrete lifting. Okay, as you can see, we still have the B-side orifices, which there are only 2 of on the pour module. There's 2 orifices on the B side, 2 orifices on the A side. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the same way. Okay, and then we're going to trigger the gun. Okay, to bring the module into the fluid head. We are going to use another module retainer, but this does not have a front packing in it. Okay, because we're not going to be using the pattern control tip in the pour application. Okay, so we're going to put this in. Okay, and use this flat 5/8. It comes in the toolkit. Okay, give that a good snug. Okay, so now the valving rod is going to come out the front of the module retainer. All right. In a pour application, we don't necessarily need that much of the valving rod sticking out the front. We're going to adjust the valving rod in where it's coming out of the pour module here. This valving rod is sticking out a little bit more than we'd like to see. All right, with it out that far, after a pour shot, you could have reacted foam will get caught onto the end of that valving rod, and when you go to trigger again, it's going to bring that reactive material back into the mixing module and so forth, and it could cause you some issues. So we are going to adjust the valving rod. All right, first thing you're going to do you're going to loosen up the hold down nut that's on top of the air cylinder. Okay, we are going to loosen up the rear packing nut that's on the back side of the fluid head. Okay, and then we're going to get our 5/8 supplied wrench, and we are going to turn the cylinder bushing. It's the brass piece coming out of the front of the air cylinder. We're going to turn that clockwise. Okay, and you're going to see the valving rod slowly moving back into the module retainer. Okay. Okay, so that's about where you want, maybe a little bit more. That's about where you want that valving rod sticking out of the front, okay? It's out far enough that you're purging all the material, so that should be good. All right, so now you gotta remember to now tighten back down on that locking nut, and certainly make sure is that you retighten the rear packing nut that's on the back of the fluid head, because if you don't, when you go to open the material valves, since the back side of the module has got the B side, and you open up the manual valves on the coupling block, you're gonna have a leak if you don't remember to tighten this. Okay, so that's how we adjust the valving rod on the PX-7. Okay, so we went from the pour module to a spray module. So we're gonna have to adjust the valving rod forward, okay? Because the valving rod has to hit the back of the pattern control tip in order to successfully purge all the material out the front of the gun, okay? So I'm gonna get it to that point. I'm gonna put the tip on, all right? And I'm gonna trigger the gun, okay, to where I can feel the back of the valving rod hitting the tip, and I'm gonna move it a little bit forward, a little bit more, okay? I'm gonna adjust it, and I can see and feel the valving rod hitting the back of the pattern control tip. Okay, we have the valving rod forwarded enough, okay? So we remember that we have to tighten the rear packing and the top stop nut that's on top of the air cylinder, okay? We're gonna have our tip retainer, okay? We're gonna put that over top of the pattern control tip. We're gonna trigger the gun just to get a good tight fit on there, okay? And tighten down on that retainer, okay? You just want a good tight snug on that. You don't want to over tighten this piece, okay? So you're gonna get snug on that. So now we're gonna take the air cap, okay? And the air cap screws on to the retainer, okay? So we're good to go. We're back to the spray mode. Okay, so we've installed a new mixing module into the front of the gun, okay? So what needs to be done on when you're installing a new module, And when you receive a brand new gun from PMC, okay, you need to remove the module and resize the orifices within the module, because when the module gets installed into the fluid head and is tightened down with this front retainer, the orifices on the module, specifically the A side orifices, that part of the module gets slightly crushed. Okay, so we need to remove the module and we need to resize the orifices. Okay, because if you don't do that, the possibility arises that you could have a slightly higher pressure on your A side than you would your B side. So the module goes into the fluid head, and this part of the mixing module gets crushed against the inside. So we need to resize the orifices on the A side. You can also do it on the B side as well, just to make sure that everything is to the size it should be. Okay, so we'll show that here now. So we're gonna resize the orifice holes within the module. As you can see, we stamp the module to whatever size that module is, and this is a number 1 module, and it's got 4 32 thousandths holes, orifices on both the A and the B sides. Okay, so we're going to get our drill bit that came with the module, and we're going to put it inside here, and we're just going to go in here very, very slightly, and we're going to resize the orifice. Okay, you just put the drill bit through. You don't have to jam it through and everything else. You don't have to, and just make sure is that the drill bit does not go into the other side of the module. Okay, so you just go in like so. Okay, let's make sure the holes are through. Okay, some of them may be crushed, some of them may not be, but as you can see, you have a little bit of material there. So okay, so that's what you do, and then you get an air gun, and you can blow the residual material out. Okay, so that's how you resize the holes. Okay, and that has to be done on the install of a new mixing chamber or on a new gun from the factory. Thanks for watching the video. We hope you learned more about the PX-7. Take care and stay safe.